Hi everyone, this is Stress Free Teens and I'm Rohan, and we're here today with the amazing Miko. For those of you who don't know her, she is a world-renowned ballerina who starred in movies such as First Position and won the Moscow International Ballet Competition at the age of 16. She recently came back to the Bay Area to pursue her interest in science, is an undergrad at UC Berkeley, and has been working as a research intern at UCSF. Here with us today to talk about her decision to move away from dance, as well as how she has dealt with stress and anxiety through her career as a dancer as well as a student. So, if you're ready, our first question. Can you describe how you decided to
Yeah.
move away from a life as an internationally renowned ballerina to pursue science?
Yes. So I was doing ballet for about 15 years until I was about 18. And I had joined a ballet company. I'd been traveling around the world. And it was a very long and hard decision for me to go on a road or path outside of ballet. But it just felt really right at the moment. And I think it was a mixture of keeping myself mentally and physically healthy, and stepping away from ballet was a good way to keep myself healthy. So I started to explore other options, and it was honestly like a whole new world. But after talking with my aunt, who is a nurse, she went from being a professional flutist to changing her career as well to become a nurse. I also wanted to kind of follow something like that and go into something in health, whether that was like physical therapy or maybe medicine. I really wanted to pursue something like that as well. So I started going to community college at first just to figure out what kind of classes I liked to take, and eventually I ended up transferring after 2 years to UC Berkeley, which is where I am now. I did start at community college at first because I had only taken online classes for high school, and so I didn't feel quite ready to go straight into a huge university like UC Berkeley. So it was a really, really, really good idea for me to go to community college first, and then everything transferred, and it's been it's actually gone by so fast. I feel like since freshman year, I'm a senior now, and I've been enjoying every second of it, and I haven't regretted any part of my journey at all. So that's a little bit about my journey.
Okay, yeah, that's super cool. That's definitely, it sounds like it was a like really difficult path and or decision to make, and well, imagine
Mm-hmm.
UC Berkeley, so that's really cool. And this is
Right.
so you sort of talked about this already, but this is a related question. Knowing how so many kids from our generation strive to become famous and like make a name for themselves and try to like be on the internet and do things like that. How did you realize that your passion for science or going to school again was greater than your career as a dancer?
Right. I mean, that was really hard for me to figure out right away when I was leaving ballet. I was putting a lot on the line just because I already had a pretty successful ballet career so far. I knew that if I had kept going, I would still be pretty successful, I think. But I put that all on the line to do something completely different, which was really scary at first. I was like, I don't even know if I like science. And I've just kind of been taking it one step at a time. Yeah, when I was doing ballet, I felt like I was doing it for other people and not really for myself. And after, I guess, transitioning away from ballet, it has been coming 100% from myself. Like, I push myself to study every day, and I just feel like I'm more in my element now. Like, I'm really doing what I want to be doing, and pursuing my own career. And I've just been enjoying every moment. So, I mean, there are, of course, stressful moments, but especially during exam times. But it's all been amazing, and I would do this whole journey one more time if I could.
Okay, that's really awesome. And it's great that you're like keeping ballet in your life still by like doing the master classes and things like that. And
Yeah.
oh, okay, now let's see. Do you see any relations between your life right now as a student at Berkeley compared to when you were a ballerina?
Definitely. I mean, especially right now, I'm taking an anatomy class, and it's actually been my like favorite class in my whole undergraduate life here, because I can connect so much of what I learned in anatomy to ballet. Like, I'm finally learning all the muscles that you use during ballet. Like, I had no idea when I was taking ballet, like which muscles I was using. Like, I'd of course feel sore in certain muscles, but it's finally so like incredible to learn actually like all the muscles and bones that make your body move in a certain way. And so that has a huge connection to ballet, and I feel like I actually understand it a lot faster than some people that have never really done any athletic skills or ballet in their life, just because I'm used to kind of knowing which muscles get sore when I do certain things, or which muscles I use when I do certain things. I can kind of connect that in my mind a lot faster than if someone had never done any ballet or any sports. So that's a huge connection between school and ballet so far. Another kind of feeling that I get is right before I had performances, like the feeling that I get, and also the the nerves that I feel right before an exam are kind of similar as well. I kind of get a little bit nervous for both, just because you've been studying or practicing for so long for a performance or an exam. And honestly, like the biggest thing has been discipline. I think the discipline that you learned from ballet and the discipline that you need to do well in college are very similar, to be able to push yourself past times that you are tired. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is the discipline.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Okay, yeah, you sort of talked about this when you were mentioning about like before a performance or before an exam, but adding on to that, how do you compare the stress you used to feel from performing ballet and the stress you feel now as a student?
Yeah, I think I felt more stress, I feel, as a ballet dancer, just because I felt like I had more pressure and a lot more eyes watching me, and people had an expectation for me to do really well during performances. So I definitely felt that more then than I do now. It's like, for example, taking an exam and having like 200 people like watch you and judge you while you're taking your like exam is kind of how I felt during a performance. So not only are you just performing or competing, but I felt like a lot of people were watching me, which added pressure. So I would say performing was a lot more like, I felt a lot more pressure, and and I was just generally not as like mentally healthy, I'd say, in terms of like my body image and everything when I was in ballet versus now. Now I just have to kind of worry about exams, and that's about it. So
So now this is sort of talking, actually this connects to both ballet and again as a student. So how,
right.
for example, if teachers gave you negative feedback or in front of your peers you felt embarrassed or on put on the spot, how do you respond to that, or how did you deal with that type of situation?
Right. I have been pretty lucky, I would say, not to have had too many of those experiences. I mean, in ballet, you always get corrections from your teachers, but if it's like a correction that's going to help you, I was always very appreciative of those corrections in ballet. Usually a teacher is telling you, like, correcting you to make you better in ballet. Of course, there's times when they may say something that is uh, just offensive or not really said to actually make you better, but just to make you feel bad. Luckily, I didn't have too many like teachers or coaches that did that. And in college, honestly, especially somewhere like UC Berkeley, where there could be 500 people in a class, normally the professors don't really even recognize you as a student. You're just one of the 500 in their class. So you generally don't get that in university as well. At least in this university, they don't really even talk to you. So you don't really feel embarrassed by your professors or anything like that here. But in ballet, I'm sure it is quite common for certain teachers to say something maybe disrespectful or just really embarrasses you. My advice for dealing with that is just kind of like ignore it, let it go into one ear and out the other, just quickly. Of course you're going to feel something, but I would take that if it's like going to help you, like if it's like, why don't you, like, I don't know, put your shoulders down or something, then just really think about that correction. But if it is truly something offensive, then I would maybe even consider leaving that teacher if they're not really a great person. You really want to surround yourself with good people, and that includes your teacher. So if they are a teacher that just keeps offending you or embarrassing you, or I don't know, just saying stuff that is inappropriate for the classroom, then I would consider, leaving that ballet teacher, I would say. Find someone that does, like, just if they do say something, it's helpful at least. So that's my advice.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so now talking more about stress specifically, what are methods that you personally have done to relieve like your stress and anxiety and pressure that was and is put on you?
Yeah, I guess for university, I kind of put that stress on myself, as in I applied to do this class, I applied to be this major. So when I did apply, like for example, for a class or register for a class, I knew that it was going to be, a class that's going to give me stress. So it's a little bit better than some other like high school and middle school. I don't know if you're able to like choose your classes. Maybe you are, but here you really do like choose exactly what your schedule is going to look like and when you're going to take your classes and how hard your classes are. So I generally beforehand kind of mentally prepare myself to be ready to kind of maybe get a little bit stressed before an exam. How I deal with stress, I just kind of remind myself that, I just have to do my best, and that's what counts. Like, you can't do anything but do your best. And honestly, like, stressing yourself out doesn't really help too much. Just like, just breathe in and out and remind yourself that, one grade's not gonna change everything. It won't make or destroy a career. It's just one grade. And just like study your best before an exam. And if you don't do well on an exam, try and learn from that experience. Like, why didn't you do well? Was it like you didn't study enough, or you just didn't read the questions enough? At each exam, you can kind of figure out what you did well and what you didn't do well, and you can apply that for the next exam, if exams are what you are stressed about, which is usually the case for being in university. And a little bit of stress is okay. I feel like if you are a little bit stressed and you make yourself work a little bit harder, that's okay for like short term, but long term, that's really, really not good for you. Mm-hmm. In terms of ballet, I did experience stress too, but again, for ballet, I almost performed better when I was nervous, which is really weird. A lot of people, I don't think, would perform better, but I just kind of was able to handle my nerves pretty well, and it honestly just made me dance better on stage for some weird reason. Like, if I wasn't like a little bit nervous to dance on stage, I was like, oh no, that means I'm going to mess up on stage, because it just happened to be where the performances that I wasn't nervous for, I'd kind of mess up on stage, but the performance that I was nervous for, I'd do really well for some reason. I think it just made me focus a little bit harder. But for school, I just say, like, breathe in and out, just do your best, and that's all you can do. So yeah, that's what I would say.